see anyone yet.
Nobody yet, right? What about what's going on with Andy from the fire department?
Yeah,
He
we
hasn't
haven't-
been-
So I think we do have there's a village phone number. So I believe that's probably a police
Yeah.
officer. And we have LMC Media.
Oh, wonderful.
Hello,
Hi, what officer is this, please?
Nadolski, Nadolske, Shield 134.
I'm sorry.
Welcome.
Can you spell it again?
N like Nancy, ADOLSKE.
SKE. Great. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, you're ready to go.
Outstanding. Let's see. Do we have a quorum, first of all? I think 1, 2, 3, 4 traffic commissioners.
I think you're good.
Fine.
We're good? Okay. Outstanding. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for dialing in to our November meeting. We as always have a good packed agenda, but the good news is, or at least, in terms of safety, the good news is that we've only got a few items of new business. And thanks to Dan Sarnoff, who's not here for me to publicly thank him, but he gave some insights into, kind of where we are in the items of old business as well. So first, I guess, Jason, I'll ask, is there anyone from the community? Oh, well, do we have a motion to start the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Anyone else want a second?
Second.
Thank
Who
you,
second?
Karen.
Oh,
Karen and Larry. I think simultaneously it was kind of a brain
Okay.
mesh.
All right, I'll put Karen.
Excellent. All right. Do we have any members of the public, Jason?
We just have Officer Nadolski and LMC Media.
Okay. I see
Wait,
from
we have-
LMC Media to all panelists, this is Matt Sullivan on a personal matter regarding 528 Rockland Avenue.
Okay, let's unmute Matt Sullivan. Okay. Matt, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, Matt.
Hi. Sorry that my account here is coming up as LMC Media. I'm actually trying to change it, but it's not letting me. Go figure. I should be able to figure it out,
You are the media guy.
But I know that we haven't hit our place in the agenda for 528, but I just wanted to make sure that you knew I was here.
Okay, so you're here with old business. Okay, gotcha. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate you
Is
dialing
Alana
in.
here?
I don't see
Alana.
Alana.
No, did you all get the email about Alana has resigned? Yeah, she's resigned from the board. I'm sorry. I thought that went to everyone.
No, I
No,
don't.
I didn't get it. She
I
did?
got it.
Yeah.
When?
I got it last
A week
week.
ago, 2 weeks ago.
Oh gosh.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that.
I had no
Yeah.
idea. Oh Lord. Oh well,
Yeah. So, our organizational meeting is in December, so it's time to fill anyway. So we'll just,
So we have 2 vacancies right now. Is that right,
Yeah.
Cal?
yeah. And
Okay.
I don't recall, are any of you up?
I am.
Who's
I-
I? David?
Larry.
Larry. Oh, yes, Larry. And I hope you're going to stay.
That decision is still pending.
Okay. Okay.
Sounds like a no.
Larry, keeping everyone on the edge of our seats.
He's not staying.
I encourage Larry, I hope you'll stay.
Hey, Lucia, I thought you wanted me to stay.
I told you to, but you I can't force you.
This is reverse psychology here, Larry.
My kids, so. I saw
Well,
that.
That's I've indicated I'd like to re-up as well.
I did see that. Thanks, Shannon.
Absolutely. And on behalf of the commission, I'd love to, send Alana a nice thank you card. She's
Oh,
been
I think that'd be
Aw.
very nice.
yeah.
So sweet.
She's been an impassioned and super champion for, the voices of residents and traffic safety, and that's exactly what we need. We need
She
more.
really cares.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
she does.
Yep.
She
No,
did. That's
totally.
why I'm surprised she resigned.
Oh,
I
well, I
know,
know
I
she
was
has
so
a lot
sad.
going on at work.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing, isn't it? We all kind of work through these little boxes, and yet somehow life is busier today than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we know what's going on with Andy? Kelly, maybe you can send an email
I don't, but I will,
if you could
check.
look into it,
I will.
please, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah,
Oh.
okay.
They have a great perspective. Okay, with that, let's dive right into our agenda. We have 3 items of new business, starting with the corner of Orienta Avenue and Hall Street. The resident is George, I'm going to butcher his name, Mgrdichian?
Yes, we got it.
Hey, first try. Okay.
It was good.
So if folks remember, this particular intersection was part of the Orienta Old Post Road walking safety assessment that we conducted last fall. That we have a draft report out that I need to sort of reshare with everybody to make sure that they're comfortable with it. But let me first relay what George says, and then I guess I'll tell you what I propose, but I want to open it up for everybody's feedback and ideas as well. George is talking specifically about the corner of Orienta and Hall, which, if you're familiar with that very first intersection on Orienta Avenue coming in off the Post Road, it's a small dead-end street that, if for the residents that live on Hall, for them to cross into Harbor Island Park, they're basically navigating the beginning of Orienta Avenue, which for locals who know it, is exactly when the vehicles decide to accelerate. So they turn left off the Post Road onto Orienta Avenue, and they're so anxious to get home that, they just want to kind of hit that hill running. So George asks, we'd like a sign for pedestrian crossing, and no parking sign on Hall, I'm guessing, for the corner would be nice as well. And I know that in the village we've got specific guidance for how far from a corner that one is allowed to park to begin with. So, certainly if there's not no parking here to corner signs on Hall Street, I think that's a fairly straightforward fix. But one of the things that I thought we might be able to do, and he included a picture, would be to incorporate this recommendation into the yet to be submitted draft report. Again, David, you and I live right close to this. I mean, this is definitely a popular crossing for pedestrians, parents with strollers, cyclists, folks walking dogs, things like that. Whether there's kind of a, warning pedestrian crossing signage, or, some sort of, center of the road situation. Oh, somebody's got mail.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Probably Larry.
Let me open it up for my fellow commissioners, though. What do you all know about the area? What do you think?
I know the area because I don't live far from it, but the no parking, how does that fit in with the pedestrian crossing? I don't understand.
It doesn't. It
Oh,
doesn't.
right.
I think it may be a matter of, vehicles that are parking too close to that intersection.
Do you think that will prevent somebody from having that issue if there's a no parking sign there?
I think they're two separate issues.
Then, no.
Yeah.
Because you study this stuff, and so you kind of know how that works.
Right.
Given, is it worth it to put that there and take away the parking for someone if it's not really going to become a beneficial outcome?
I mean, I think, and Kelly, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the village has some pretty specific guidelines on how close vehicles are allowed to park, to an intersection. Like that's a T-junction. And I assume anyway that, they're supposed to be at least one car length back from the actual stop sign. Is that right?
I muted myself because I have a printer going in the background, so forgive me. But I thought it was 15 feet which I think sounds about right.
Which is about a car length. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Comfortably.
The other thing to think about with Hall is that Hall is between, we already have a crosswalk at, the Montessori school at the corner of Post Road. And there's another area that I know was addressed by the safety assessment, which is down where Orienta splits to Rushmore. And Hall is kind of in the middle of these two, right? Yep. So if you added a crosswalk there, you'd have 3 crosswalks.
Right. And to be fair, he's not actually asking for a full crosswalk.
Just a warning.
Just a center of the road pedestrian crossing sign or something like that.
I looked it up. It's 30 feet, New York State DMV, from a stop sign, traffic light, or yield sign.
Okay. God bless you, Jason.
You're killing it already. First
Jason,
meeting.
you're hired. You're
I'm just
hired.
trying to make myself useful. Quick Google search.
You're really, you're the bomb. You're the bomb. Now everybody knows. Everybody on traffic knows you're the bomb.
You've outed yourself. But kidding aside, one of the recommendations from the Orienta / Old Post Road walking safety assessment, if you all remember, our traffic safety consultant, Matt Carmody, was on the job that day. And there was appetite in the neighborhood from the residents actually to do the fundraising if necessary to make this happen. But to put in place some sort of a mini, I don't want to say traffic circle, but something kind of in the intersection of Orienta and Rushmore. It's an enormous intersection. In particular, the exit from Rushmore, kind of like curves out like so, giving, tons of space. And I think, again, creating that sort of, visual illusion that we've got all this space and this beautiful sloping road that goes up a hill. I'm trying to get home. I'm going to just go for it and accelerate to 45 miles an hour. Just anecdotally, certainly there's a good amount of pedestrian traffic that comes out of the park and either crosses straight over to Hall, which is fine and perfectly legal, or carries on up Orienta and then crosses over to Old Post Road. So I think the possible, solution for Mr. Mrgadichian is to incorporate, this sort of pedestrian warning or pedestrian crossing signage into the draft report that we're developing.
That's a good idea.
I had a couple of thoughts on both sides, actually. First of all, know that there is no, the only crosswalk across Orienta there is the one at the Post Road.
Correct.
So if you go up to the Orienta Rushmore branch off, there's no crosswalk that crosses the Orienta there, right. Which I do it all the time because we walk down to the harbor. So so that there is no crosswalk there. But that being said, there is a crosswalk not very far from Hall at the Boston Post Road. So I don't know what the exact distance is, but it isn't that far.
Right.
And then the other thing is that can you put a pedestrian crossing indication at a location without having a bona fide crosswalk there? Isn't that dangerous, especially for people coming around that turn? And
right.
And the other thing was, I have a memory in the past when we start talking about actual crosswalks that they need to have a curb cut for accessibility.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's other issues that come into
absolutely.
play if you start putting crossing activities there.
David, let me ask you this too. If I'm not mistaken, there's no sidewalk between Hall and Old Boston Post Road, right?
Not on that side of Orienta, correct.
Right.
On the
The
Hall
sidewalk
side,
is
yes.
on the other side.
That would impact any action you take there too.
Yeah.
Because the only sidewalk is on the harbor side.
Correct. So great points, great questions, both of you. I mean, the good news is that in our Old Post Road Orienta walking safety assessment report, we did put in a recommendation for a crosswalk that would extend from Old Post across Orienta onto that sidewalk. So if you're at all familiar with the house that's right there on the corner, they do already have existing curb cuts. So we would be able to, essentially take the painted pedestrian lane that's on the portion of Old Post Road that it's on right now and extend it around, adjacent to Gillies Park, and then have a crosswalk that goes across Orienta. So you're both absolutely right. I mean, folks could, if they desperately wanted to use a crosswalk, have the choice of either going down to the Post Road or going up to Old Post Road. I will say, being a frequent pedestrian myself, that I doubt many people will take advantage of that. If I live on Hall and I want to get to the park, I'm going to cross Orienta straight from Hall.
Yeah, because you don't have a sidewalk anyway to go up to the.
Exactly. But one of the types of signs that we might consider kind of in conjunction with this larger fix of the system is, just on the side of the street, a highly visible, bright yellow-green pedestrian crossing or frequent pedestrian crossing or something like that. That, gives drivers warning as they're coming off the Post Road up Orienta, like, oh, like there's going to be, folks on their feet crossing Orienta in front of me for the next few blocks. So, again, I throw that out there as a consideration to be incorporated into the report.
Was there any reason given by
Mr. Murgaduchingin?
Yeah, for eliminating a parking spot?
No.
On Hall?
No.
Oh.
No, and I think that's one of those, I'm going to have to take a walk down there and see, what no parking here to corner signs exist at all, and whether people are using that space all the way up to the stop sign.
Right.
So, what do you think, fellow commissions? Should we throw
that's
this
a good
one
idea.
into
Good
the draft
start.
report? Okay, cool. All right,
What-
that's on me.
What did she say?
Karen
what did-
said it's a good start to throw it into the report,
Into your, the report that you did?
into the walking safety assessment report. Yep.
Okay.
And, for good measure, I'll send, I'm going to call him George, a
Yeah,
copy
That's his name,
draft
George.
so that he understands that there is actually
You did
something.
a really good job with that name attempt.
Thank you.
I do
Appreciate
think
that.
you did a good job. He'll correct us if you're wrong, but
Oh, okay.
you did good.
Just call him George.
Gotcha.
He's okay with it.
Okay. Anything else on this one? Fantastic. Moving right along. New business item number 2, West Boston Post Road. This is another traffic mirror. Let me just pull this up. Kelly Sousa submitted an incident report that requests putting a traffic mirror on a pole on the northbound side of Boston Post Road near Burke, so that drivers pulling out of the town center and the condominium can see oncoming traffic. And I believe this is an identical request to one that we received perhaps from another member of that same condominium complex within the last year. Does everyone remember that?
I wasn't here for that, but that sounds
Okay.
like a really good-
I remember a mirror, but that was on Stylus on Holstead Avenue over there.
There's been a few mirrors, right?
Okay, I that's the only one I remember.
Okay. So let's see. No, that's something else. Unfortunately, well, there's a couple of things. Boston Post Road signage, infrastructure, etc., requires NISDOT intervention. It's just something that we in the village don't have any jurisdiction over. And secondly, I'm afraid that those nice big round mirrors are not something that are part of the Manual Uniform Traffic Control Devices, the MUTCD manual. They're things that people put up, in their private driveways, or like, if you've got a business and you want to make your exiting and entering customers feel more secure, you're certainly welcome to put that up. It's not something that, mirrors are not something used as a regular course of action for increasing visibility or safety. So I'm concerned and afraid that with Ms. Sousa's request, there's not a whole lot we can do other than kind of explain to her why we can't just throw a mirror up there. But again, this is part of the whole sort of block that we looked at in our WSA of Orienta, Old Post, Boston Post Road. I'm just wondering if there's anything that can be done, and I wish I had a little bit more detail from the resident about where specifically they are having trouble navigating onto the Post Road. I mean, look, we know that whole area is just a congested mess, right? It's sort of like the town center, Rockland Avenue, Orienta Avenue, Delancey, like all smushed together in this very small period along the Post Road. And lots of, kind of through traffic that's going, northbound and southbound. Is anyone familiar with that condominium's exit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know from voting 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
That coming out of there, whether you make a left or a right, it is very hard to see getting onto the Boston Post Road, especially if the cars are parked on the Boston Post Road on the left side or the right side, close, very close to the entrance and exit coming out of there. So it is difficult coming out of the town center.
Right.
I have witnessed that,
Same
so.
holds true for the other side of the street too. If you're trying to come out of Burke, forget it. There's no visibility at all.
And Boston. Yeah.
I would be hard pressed as a driver coming out of either the town center or that condominium complex to process any information that I was receiving from a mirror on the other side of Boston Post Road. Yeah. And assimilate that with what I'm seeing outside of the mirror. It's just way too much information, and a mirror reverses things. I cannot imagine that using a mirror there could actually improve.
Yeah, I thought the same
to get
thing.
out of there.
Yeah,
Well, not only that, but when you really need the mirror in rain or fog, it doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I was thinking the same thing. So.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there are a couple of, pending / persistent issues on the Post Road that, we're dealing with. One being the intersection of Fenimore and the Post Road where, rightly so, residents are concerned about pedestrian crossing there. Boy, the nest of those sort of four, very, very well-used intersections, I tend to agree with what David, Lucia, and Larry are saying. I don't know that a mirror is going to do any good.
Yeah. What can we do, though?
Right. So on her traffic incident report form, when we ask, would you be willing to volunteer for the village's Vision Zero Safe Streets initiative? She said no. So
I'll complain about it though.
so I mean, I think this is one of those where maybe I just need to send Ms. Sousa an email, explain to her that the reasons why it's not so simple as us just throwing up mirrors along the Post Road wherever folks want them, but also why it may not actually be helpful to what she's looking for, and just to find out, like what specifically she says that she checked that it's a high risk crash location. That is true. But Larry said it. I don't think that, a mirror is necessarily going to reduce the risk of crash. I think that's it. Yeah. And whether it does or not, it's not something that we have jurisdiction over. So yeah, again, I'll be happy to send Ms. Sousa an email and let her know.
So just you'll take care of it. That's
Yep.
all.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks, Lucia.
No problem.
All right. Last order of new business. The McDonald's drive-through. All right.
Ooh, here we go. That's gonna be a long one.
So for this, I hope you'll bear with me. I'm not ignoring you. I am going to pull up Dan Sarnoff's email response.
Can I just
Um,
ask a question first?
Please, please.
Kelly, isn't the drive-through in the town?
Kelly,
Can't hear you. Can't
you're
hear you.
muted.
Can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Who's
Unmute. Unmute.
I'm trying. I'm just
Oh,
technological.
you're there. You did it.
I'm not
Oh, it's-
quick. I'm
You
not
did it.
quick at the technology. I
Join
believe,
the rest of us.
I believe it is in the village because I know Jerry has addressed this. So
Oh, all
But
right.
again, isn't this the post road, which is the state? So why are we, what can we do?
So I think actually, I think it was Dan Sarnoff who addressed it. But anyway, my understanding is that the drive-through isn't actually allowed in the village anymore. But because it's a, prior non-use,
It's grandfathered in.
it's grand.
Yeah.
So to fix this problem, they would have to reconfigure their parking lot and their building footprint, right? And to even agree to do that, they would probably take more than 6 months, at which point their grandfather's situation would be eliminated. And couldn't, I don't know, it's McDonald's. I think when I saw it come in, I thought the best we could do, and we would have to talk to George about it, right? Because he would have, but maybe we could say you can't turn left and so that only the traffic that was turning right in and would back up on the post road, but at least it would try and turn left, sitting in the, does that make sense?
Yes, but you're cutting in and out.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
There's a little connectivity issue, but I think we got the
You got the
we got
gist
the
of it,
gist.
though.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got the gist of it, yeah. So maybe no left-hand turn coming,
Coming out of it.
no, coming down the Boston Post Road and going left into
heading toward Larchmont,
towards
turning left.
Larchmont,
Yeah.
turning
Yeah.
left.
Yeah, but again, you're dealing with the Boston Post Road, which is state.
Right.
And how would you even sign that anyway,
No.
Shannon?
No,
It would
I
be
mean
very hard. Who would see it,
Where
No.
could you put a sign anyway?
you
Yeah,
couldn't.
that's true.
You
How
couldn't.
would you do that?
So if
Really?
if this is the state, why are we even
Yeah.
discussing it?
Because we got a request to discuss it. And
Oh,
I don't mean that cynically. I'm sorry.
No. I'm just saying,
So
I
then
mean,
this is a state issue that we can't really have jurisdiction over, so I guess we can't really make a decision
that's what I'm saying. So why
should
would
move
Dan,
and leave it as a state decision.
Dan
Right.
should have just said it's a state decision and just forward, email, pass it on to the resident if
Right.
it's not us.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you want to handle it?
They lose their pre-existing nonconformity. Yeah, I mean, I actually know Mr. Katz, who was the gentleman who sent the email.
Mhm.
Again, I'm happy to relay what Dan sent and to reiterate what, we'll share with the other resident who wanted the mirror on Boston Post Road about why it is that we just simply have no jurisdiction. To be fair, I'll echo what he said, just from observation. Again, I literally live almost behind the McDonald's. The big backup is coming from the Larchmont direction in that right-hand lane,
Right.
where folks just literally start to stack up. And because it is such a heavily traveled road, it creates hazardous conditions for kids who are crossing to get to school, for people who are crossing to get to the McDonald's, and people who are just trying to travel down Boston Post Road in their vehicles. But again, other than hoping that maybe McDonald's goes away, I'm not sure there's much we can do about it.
It's not happening.
I know people love that stuff. Oof. Okay. Anything else on McDonald's? Well, with that, gang, we are we have cruised through new business, and now we are back to some of our old business. And so this is what Matt has been waiting for. 528 Rockland Avenue. Matt, we addressed this request last month, and I'm just opening up Dan's email. I promise I'm not ignoring you guys. So this was just to refresh everybody's memory, the request was from a resident who was concerned about, safely being able to enter and exit their driveway on Rockland Avenue, that, they were concerned that there was parking that was a little too close to the driveway for, limiting their visibility. Dan has put a request in for the actual crash data. We took a look. Larry took a look. I know. I've certainly been by the area to just make sure that there's not kind of like massive trees, shrubs, a sharp turn or anything like that needs to be dealt with. And from what Dan is saying, he has not yet gotten the crash data on that particular leg of Rockland Avenue. And I know that they were suffering some delays with their track system recently. So is there anything else though, Matt, that you wanted to bring to light since that request was submitted?
Yes, thanks, Shannon. Thanks everyone for your
Sure.
efforts here. I think, the major concern is that when you pull out of our driveway, whether you're backing up or you're going, face first, you cannot see anything on the left-hand side, and people treat Rockland, for whatever reason, even when there is a stop sign right there, they treat it like the Daytona 500. I can't tell you the amount of time sitting here working at home where I'm hearing horns outside, several times a day. These cars are speeding by, and whether I have to inch out of our driveway, it doesn't matter. I still can't see them. They can't see me. My wife and I, we have a newborn. I just have terrible images in my head. And we actually have to go out into the street. If we're lucky to be in the car together, her or I will stand in the street to stop traffic coming that way. And if she's not there, or if I'm not there, it's up to fate. And it's a very, very dangerous situation. I can certainly appreciate that we're looking into crash data, but I would equate this similarly to the times. Whereas if we're wearing, not to make this is not a political statement, if we're not wearing masks, does that necessarily mean we're going to get COVID? And this is a situation. It's not a matter of if, but when there's going to be an accident at our house. And I just hope that we don't have to go down that road.
So you think a solution would be to eliminate a parking spot?
Yes, sir.
Just for visibility purposes?
Yes, for visibility purposes, both for us and also for the oncoming drivers.
But
It's only from the Waverly Avenue side then?
Correct, right. So there would be, if you exit our driveway, if you're looking at Rockland from the house, if you're back to the house, the first spot that's on the left-hand side of the driveway just makes a huge difference if there's no truck or car parked there. And unfortunately, because we're sort of in that industrial zone, there tend to be big trucks that park there. And it's, you really can't see. I mean, I'd be more than happy to show anyone on the committee exactly what we're talking about. I know we had submitted some photos. I don't think that it really even shows. I mean, it does show, you could see it in the photos, but when you're there and you could see it with your own eyes, it becomes very apparent.
I thought we talked about to not eliminating a spot, but just moving that front spot back a little and putting a line there. Isn't that what we talked about at last month's meeting?
Yeah,
Does anybody
think-
remember?
yeah. No, last month I think we tossed around some ideas, but I think the general consensus at the end was that we needed to go visit the spot, which
Yeah,
we
which
did.
you guys did, right,
Yeah,
right.
and
Yeah, I
and
sent
just
you a picture.
I've
of
been
it.
down
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
so a couple of things. I mean, Matt, first of all, thank you, and really appreciate the engagement and interest, and one of the things that we've perhaps not done as good a job as we should, and I'm hoping to be able to start to help change that in the next week or so, is to communicate the village's Vision Zero initiative. So this is not to replace or supplement or duplicate what the Traffic Commission does, but essentially the village has made a pledge. The Board of Trustees adopted a resolution over a year ago now to, reimagine the way the transportation system is designed and the way that, we educate our residents, the way we engage them in making, safe travel on our local roadways, whether you're in a car or on your feet or in a wheelchair or on a bike, safe for all. And with a particular focus on the most vulnerable roadway users, those who are outside of the car. Because we do live in a very walkable village, and we do live in a place where, God willing, outside of COVID, we can get to the train into the city without ever entering a vehicle. We can walk our kids to school. We can walk to the village to go, have dinner or whatever. So there's no reason that you should feel terrified to leave your driveway, right? I mean, that should be a fundamental right as much as you expect to have clean water and clean air. So like a big part of the Vision Zero initiative is social norming, and just sort of, the more residents who are aware of and conversant in this, the more you can sort of, say to your neighbor, like, hey guy, like I saw you doing 50 last night. Not so much. Okay. I've got a kid here. And that's not to put the onus on residents, but it's just to say that we do have a concerted education and outreach effort that's underway that will hopefully start to address some of these concerns, at least from a sort of, normative perspective. A lot of what, happens on Rockland Ave or Prospect Ave or Fenimore or any of these things that, are sort of systemic poor driving behaviors, unfortunately, are caused by the residents themselves. They're caused by people who are very familiar with the roadways and know exactly what routes to take to circumvent the major arteries, right? And have grown far too comfortable with, exceeding the speed limit, driving aggressively on tiny, narrow local roadways. So it really does have to be a concerted, combination of education and outreach, enforcement, and changes in the way that the roadway is designed. I think, certainly we could look at whether the removal of that one parking space would make a big difference for you in terms of visibility. And again, I know Dan has put in a request for crash data just to be able to, because we are a data-driven kind of entity, so we want to make sure that we're prioritizing, those areas that need the help most, based on what the crash data is telling us. But I did want to at least give you, some reassurance that we're not ignoring these kind of requests, and they come in every month, from residents who are just like, why are there so many cars speeding on these local roadways?
Yeah.
Shannon, thank you for your thoughts there. There's another concern. You mentioned safe roads and the initiative there. There's also no walkway, no sidewalk outside the house. So a lot of times what will happen is you'll see, that's the route that kids take from school every day. They're walking out in the street. So that's, just another concern, that could be combined into this, but I think is also separate as well.
Yeah.
But again, I'm very happy to meet anyone if there are any other questions. And like I said, it's not a matter of if, but when there's going to be an accident if no one can see at that driveway, unfortunately.
And we can hear your little customer next to you.
Yes, sorry. He says hi, everyone.
Matt,
Thank you for listening.
Matt, do you mind? This is Kelly. Can I just
Hey,
ask
Kelly.
a quick question?
Sure.
Do you think that other residences on your street have a similar problem?
Not where they are, because our
Okay.
neighbor actually has a vantage point next door. The other person is up on, I guess it's Waverly or Harmon on the corner. And the people across the street, they have a clear line of sight as well. So it's really, unfortunately,
Okay,
just our home.
thank you.
So Matt, I have a question. Would it, I mean, if we can't take away a parking spot, if we move that front spot back a little bit, would that help you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Just, having like a car's length where we could at least see out.
Right.
Just check for cars coming. That would be a huge help.
Okay. And one other thing, Matt, can you spell your last name, please?
Sure. It's Sullivan, Sullivan.
Okay, perfect. Great. It's for my notes. Thank you.
Thank you.
I need to say something. My wife is currently employed by Matt Sullivan, so I won't be saying anything about this or voting.
Thank
I
you for the
spoke-
recusal, David.
Yeah, I spoke about the item at the last meeting, but my wife, while she hadn't started her employment at that time, she had discussions about it, but I was not aware that Mr. Sullivan was the person who lived at 528 Rockland Avenue was bringing it up. So
Thank you for that transparency, sir. Appreciate it.
David, that's really admirable of
Yep.
you to catch
Yep.
that and to thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Yes.
David, for many reasons.
So, one thought, and I know that, Dan is working on getting the crash data from Rockland Ave, and I think, Larry had put that out there. But in order to move the parking back a little bit without, dear God, putting up another sign in this village, would it be possible, I guess the question is, to put some, highly visible striping, kind
Right.
of adjacent to the driveway there where, it's clear that this is no bueno for parking. And we're not talking about an enormous swath, right, Matt? I mean, we're talking about another sort of like 12 or 15 feet that would give you that much more visibility.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
But once you put that down, Shannon, does that make it enforceable too?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Yep.
it has to be,
It's
The proper
MUTCD,
distance,
yep,
right.
MUTCD compliant, kind of striping, I'm trying to think of a good example in the village. If cars park across that striped area, they can be ticketed and towed.
Right.
Absolutely.
I would, go for that instead of taking away a full parking spot.
Right.
Just go back a couple of feet. Okay.
So maybe we could put that on as a, question for Dan, action item for Dan to explore.
Okay.
And Shannon, sorry, is that the same length as a regular car spot would be? I'm just trying to envision how.
I mean, from what it is that you're describing, you would like to have what you need to have to feel safe is sort of like a car length, right? In
right.
order to, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, a car length is 9 feet. It's not a whole lot of space, but it's just enough maybe for you to be able to inch out a little bit and feel like you've got that buffer.
Yeah. If it's, just like the size of a truck, I think would be, if everyone is open to that idea. Obviously not a giant truck, pickup truck.
I think that's what Larry's chuckling about. He's imagining a semi, right?
no, we went from a car to a truck, like.
No, thank you again for turning up, Matt. Listen.
Oh no, thank
totally
you.
appreciate it.
And thank you for, honestly examining this and considering this matter. I really appreciate everyone's time.
We certainly
Welcome.
try.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Have a good night.
Okay.
Okay. A few more items of old business. I'm just going to open up Dan's email because I think he pegged a bunch of them. Request for a stop sign at Rushmore and Stiles Avenue. And listen, I should have started the meeting with this. I know I've been promising now for the last 2 traffic commission meetings that, Matt Carmody and I have been working on collaborating to put together less than 1 hour, I promise, because you know I hate meetings that go more than an hour, seminar for us, for our traffic commission, but you know, maybe even invite the broader public with some sort of like traffic safety 101, right? So like, where do certain strategies and countermeasures make sense, and where do they not only not solve the problem, but maybe even cause more problems? And you know, I don't mean to sound like a negative Nelly when it comes to stop signs, but unfortunately, for folks who are not in the business, they tend to believe that like throwing up stop signs everywhere is going to slow everybody down, make everything safer. And you know, suddenly there will be no more crashes. And I'm afraid the opposite is actually true. So, you know, with Rushmore and Stiles, I'm not sure that, you know, we are necessarily looking at such a cut and dried, but you know, the outcome of that conversation last month was that we should look at the crash data. And what Dan reports is that there have been 0 crashes at that intersection over the last 5 years. I'm going to get him to stop using the word accidents, I promise. So the question, I'm not sure because I don't have the original email from the resident or the original traffic incident report. Has anyone communicated back to that resident? Does anyone know?
I don't know who the resident.
Nope. Let me check my notes. I don't think, I think we were waiting for Dan.
Okay.
from
And
last
he
April.
he reported back that there's been 0 crashes
So that's, yeah,
over a
that's
5-year period.
okay, so stylish, Jerry told me to find out. I don't see anything. Okay, Dan. Okay, no, nobody has done anything. We were just waiting for Dan to follow up on. If you want, I can look through all my notes. I'm sure I have something. I can contact the resident.
Thank you, Lucia. That'd be wonderful. Appreciate that.
I'll CC you on it.
Gracias, mi amor. All right. All right. Next, we have the walking assessment report on English Place, which, hey, I'm happy to report has certainly been submitted. The local resident, Christy Luciano, has been terrifically perseverant at following up just about weekly. I know Jerry Barbario was looking at that early this week. He just got back from being on leave. But you know, that walking safety assessment, I'd call it a mini assessment because it really was just this single L-shaped little intersection instead of a corridor. We put on a fast track to get that report to the village board and to Jerry and Tom. And you know, as with the others, I kind of parsed the recommendations into potential low cost immediate improvements and longer term things like the, you know, fixing the curbs so that it would make it easier for cyclists, especially the kids, to get up onto the sidewalk and into the park. So I think, let me just open up Dan's email. What was the follow-up on that? Oh, he said nothing. So,
Nothing.
but I mean, the good news is that, you know, not only has the report been submitted, but I know that, you know, Jerry has been on this. So
Should we leave it on?
does anyone have anything else?
Or do we take, I think
I think that's really in the works.
yeah, so we could take it off, you think, or you did your part, right?
Good Lord, we all did our parts, you know?
Oh, okay.
And one thing, just for the good of the order, you know, I asked Jerry because Miss Luciano was really just prodigious about following up on a pretty regular basis since the physical walking assessment occurred. You know, I asked Jerry, like, okay, once we sort of send you the report, you know, if you can just give us a few bullet points on, you know, what happens with that report. Like, and I know a lot happens with it because I know how much he and the board value those recommendations. You know, I'll share candidly. I asked whether I could write these reports in a more abbreviated form to speed them up, and Jerry was like, "Please don't. We really love like the level of observational data that you provide. We love the fact that like you parse it into low cost, long term, etc." So they're valuable. They're doing work. It's just, I think, again, part of this larger education for our community. These things take time, and in an environment where the village is already strapped for cash and trying to balance what's the priority here, here. Not everybody's intersection can be immediately satisfied. We have to prioritize based on greatest needs.
I'll tell you also, and Lucia might be able to chime in on this, but since COVID, with people working at home and
Yep.
someone in a department will be COVID exposed, or people will have to leave the office for a few days. It's been rough. I mean, just from a personnel perspective, it's been rough. So the fact that a sign isn't put up the day after someone asks for it is really to be expected.
Yeah.
Right.
Particularly now. It's just it's hard.
It is very.
Absolutely.
So what should we do with this? What do you think?
I'm going to open it up to the rest of y'all, but I mean, I'm happy to take it off because I just feel like our work is done here. It's really in the village's hands.
I'll second that. Off it goes.
I agree.
Agree.
Okay, I took it off. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Cracking me up.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay.
Old
so
business
tired
item
of
number
seeing-
4. I know. Like, let's get on with it.
Mhm.
And we, appreciate the really, really good engagement from the residents. All right, business item number 4, dangerous intersection of Fenimore, Prospect, and Monroe. That again is our walking safety assessment that we most recently conducted. The report is underway. We can leave it on just to
Okay.
keep ourselves honest, in terms of
Yep.
tracking. But no new news there.
Okay.
Old business item number 5, Mamaroneck Avenue pedestrian traffic improvements. And we have here phase 1 funding. So according to Dan's update, this is, I believe, the curve of Mamaroneck Avenue, sort of where the intersection of Old White Plains Road comes in, right? If you're going
Right.
to enter Washingtonville, right?
Going towards White Plains, right? Mhm.
Right. We know that the village has put in for and been approved for a community development block grant, and I'm going to sneeze. Apologize. Pardon me.
That means it's true.
That's right.
Mhm.
They ain't got the money yet. Is the bottom line.
Yeah.
So
Well, they said the next 4 years. So 22, 23, and 24. We're not there yet. The up
over the next several years, right?
Yeah. 22, 23, 24. So.
But in
Right.
any case, there's nothing for us to do there, and it should be stricken from the.
I think that again, you're right,
Take
David.
it off? Take it off?
Yeah.
Yay. Okay, good.
I see Lucia's goals wide and clear here.
Elaine is going to be very happy because every time you guys don't take anything off the agendas. I'm like, yeah, I know. We're
I'll
trying.
put that on our thank you card.
Yes. No, not Alana, Elena.
Elena Porretta. Yes,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right.
Okay, we got that.
Okay.
Number 6.
Next, item number 6, Southbury Ave and Guion Drive stop sign, and there was discussion of putting the speed trailer there for a little bit, which I know that
Yeah,
speed
putting
trailer
it-
gets a
and they
lot
took
of
it.
use.
Putting it back.
Right.
Yeah. So that
Okay.
was from last month with Lieutenant DeRosa. Now I think didn't she get promoted?
Temporary chief.
Now
yeah.
almost chief. That's right.
Temporary
That's
chief.
right.
Yeah, so that's what it was. They were supposed to put it back. She was going to ask the chief to put it back. So maybe the officer that's with us tonight, does he have any info for us?
I've noticed that the officer who's on with us tonight is an attendee and not a panelist. So I think he called in as opposed to joining as a panelist. So Jason, if you're listening, can we allow him to speak?
I think he can. He's not muted.
Okay.
He's enabled to talk. Officer Nadolski, can you hear us?
I hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
What do you got for me?
Where's your speed trailer these days?
Can we put
Oh,
it back?
wow. That's a good question. The last time I remember, the one was at the harbor, and the other one was in Orienta somewhere. I'm not quite sure of where they've been. I haven't been back I was training for a couple weeks, so I haven't really been here, except a little bit of last week and this week.
I think there's
And
one
that's
by
where
Mount High
the
School.
traffic guys are really inept with that. I don't really know much about them.
I believe I saw one by the high school.
Okay.
And I know just, both from the, relocatable message signs as well as, those that are permanent across the throughways and stuff like that, that there's competing priorities, right? Because a lot of them are being used for COVID-related messaging. But I wonder, Officer, if you wouldn't mind just sort of relaying back to Acting Chief DeRusa or whoever is acting now in charge of traffic, that this request for the relocatable speed sign to be put onto the corner of Southbury and Guion, for just a bit more data collection. I think that would be valuable.
Actually, Shannon, it was there, and then they took it away because the school started. And then last month, the officer that was on that, the lieutenant that night, emailed Lieutenant DeRosa, and they said that she was gonna ask the chief to put it back on. So that's where we were for last
Yeah,
month.
well, we were gonna put it back, Lucia, without the
Right, without the
number
lights.
indicators,
Right,
right?
without the
Because we had
lights.
it there for a month with the speed,
Right, the lights.
the lights. So
Right,
we were
I
gonna put
submitted
it back
the
for a month
data.
without the lights.
You guys.
Right. So that's where we stand. We needed to go back without the lights, turned on so that
To collect the data. Yep.
it'll collect the data.
Do you want me to call her and ask the lieutenant if she could please, when there's time to do that, bring it back to Southbury?
That would be good.
I'm happy to call her back. She's
Thank
very
you,
helpful.
Karen.
Okay.
Awesome. Love the volunteer spirit tonight. Woohoo. All right. Guess what, gang? We're down to our last item of old business. Now, this is Orienta Avenue, a four-way stop, and it says requesting crash data, which is usually a Dan. Let me open up his email. Right. So Orienta Avenue, four-way stop. I'm afraid I don't remember which intersection of Orienta this was, but
That was Bleecker and Orient, I believe.
okay.
That's great.
Oh, which is down further close to the water, right? And I believe that Dan was gonna again look to the PD to get the
Yeah.
crash data on that.
Still
to-
nothing.
to
Right.
share back with the commission.
Yeah, there are two stop signs there already, one on Grecian Point and one on Bleecker. Somebody, I think, was looking to put a stop sign on Orient Avenue.
Okay. All right, so we'll just wait for Dan, right?
Okay.
May I ask a question real quickly? If anyone knows the answer to this, it would be helpful. Over in Shore Acres by the Mamaroneck Beach and Yacht Club, there's a lot of orange barrels there over that little bridge over the Otter Creek. Does anyone know what's going on possibly over there? Did you guys see anything or hear of anything?
I don't know.
Okay.
Is it, yeah, I mean, potential construction related to the bridge or?
I was thinking so as well, but they didn't do anything. It's just, I see a lot of stuff going on and I thought maybe you guys, I just took a shot in the dark.
Okay. Maybe storage of orange barrels.
Maybe.
I have one question about I think we got something from Dan about the state was going to put a no right on red sign on the post road at Fenimore in lieu of, because they couldn't adjust the traffic light pattern, right? We got something, an email on that, but it was never brought to us because it is the post road.
Boy, Yeah, I didn't get a copy of that, Larry. I'm
I-
afraid. I mean,
Yeah, I got that they wanted to put a no right turn on red sign on the post road at Fenimore to kind of alleviate. It goes back to an old business where
Yep.
from last year
Yep.
where, crossing the post road. And I
Hi,
thought
Larry.
we should be involved with that too, because I don't 100% agree with that.
no,
I remember
I agree.
discussing this. I remember discussing this last month and the month before, at least. And I thought the issue was whether the sign should be on Fenimore saying no right turn onto Post Road from Fenimore because
Correct.
of a pedestrian crossing there.
If it's going to be Fenimore, it should be, oh, we did discuss, it should be no left turn. Well, no, right turn, okay, it depends where you want people to cross. You want them crossing on the south side of the intersection or the north side. If they cross on the south side, on the north side of the intersection, they have the cars turning right off the post road to go up Fenimore Road.
Right.
That's the conflict there.
Here's
But if you have people crossing on the south side, then there's no conflict with cars turning right on red. You get me?
here's absolutely. And here's the thing that, just is boggling my mind. And right now I know that our Region 8 NISDOT office, out of Poughkeepsie that, has jurisdiction over this stretch of the post road, is they just lost their traffic engineer. So there's a guy in that seat who's acting, and he's not, classically trained in the art. So is trying to sort of, drink through the fire hose to learn. But what I continue to be completely confused by is that, the intersection of Boston Post Road and Rushmore, and Rich Bell, right, has an all pedestrian walk signal. The intersection of Boston Post Road and Mamaroneck Avenue has an all pedestrian walk signal. Why is it impossible for the intersection of the Boston Post Road and Fenimore to have an all pedestrian walk signal? I just don't see the logic.
You know what? A Nani was in contact with the state over that. Remember last
Right.
year?
Yes,
And they
guys,
said
if you.
they said they couldn't do it for some
Right,
reason. They couldn't do it.
If you guys look at your agenda that Elena sent over tonight, if you look under on the second page under other, where it says Grint Rimis, the crosswalk.
Yeah,
and
that was the
Yep.
petitioner.
That's
Right.
the
Yep.
one. So yes, it could not be done through the state, they're saying. So now we suggested maybe, putting a no turn on red on the post, to stop all the
From
traffic.
Fenimore to Post, right?
Right. So that's what we're still waiting
We
on.
we never discussed putting a sign like that.
No.
Somebody else must have come up with that. I think the state mentioned that to Dan as an alternative to adjusting the traffic.
Right.
No turn on red to be posted. That's what they
Right.
want, because they cannot sync all four lights, which makes no sense, because like Shannon's saying, all the other
Yeah.
areas.
Much more complicated intersections offer this. Much more
Exactly.
complicated.
Exactly.
This is a T-junction, like, come on.
Right. So I mean,
So
this
I'll-
has been on here forever.
And I can, at least sort of, wearing my traffic commissioner hat, not my day hat, I can follow up with, the Region 8 office of NISDOT and find out, listen, because a lot of times, right, it's just a matter of like getting into the right communication channels.
Right.
Like someone who randomly picked up the phone one day when Dan Sarnoff called might have said, like, oh, that traffic signal is 18 years old. There's no way we're touching it. Come on.
No, actually, when they repaved and they laid the pipes down Fenimore Road last year,
Mhm.
the new sewer lines and
Yep.
everything, they repaved it and they put new lights up at that
Yep.
intersection.
Yep,
Those are
absolutely.
brand new installed traffic.
So there
signals.
should be no issue.
Yeah.
There should be no issue.
Okay, Shannon, who are you going to follow up with?
With New York State DOT Region 8.
New York State DOT region. What was it?
Region
DOT?
8. Yeah.
Oh, region.
So Region 8 covers Westchester, Rockland.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I only brought that up, Shannon, because I think that no right turn on red 24/7 is unnecessary there.
Yeah.
And that's not the
I
solution
agree.
anyway.
I
Yeah.
agree. It's
Okay.
not, it's not going to be enforced either. So,
And then I just have an update on all the follow-ups. There is no updates.
yay.
Elena said that Jerry has not gotten back to her, so we'll just wait on it,
He's been
I'll
overwhelmed.
I'll send him another email next week.
Awesome. Thank you,
That's
ma'am.
all the only other thing, all right, no, we took care of that new business. Forget it. West Boston Post Road, right? That mirror?
Yep.
Okay, that's cool. All right, yep, you were gonna email the resident. Okay, perfect.
Absolutely.
That's all.
Anything else for the good of the order, gang?
Yes, I move we approve the minutes from September.
We need to approve 2 minutes.
Oh,
Both of
Thank
them.
you.
Yes, both. We
David.
didn't have a quorum. Larry, stay on.
I'm here.
Don't go anywhere yet.
Hey, don't forget Alana left before me last time.
No, Karen got cut off.
I
That's
did. I
right,
lost
that's
my
right.
power.
That's
We
right.
lost Karen. That's what it was.
No.
All
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
All
Would
right,
anyone
let's do
like to
this.
make a motion to approve the minutes?
I just did.
Thank you, David.
I'll
The
second
minutes-
that.
The minutes for when? For which?
For-
meeting?
I move we.
September,
approve the
October.
minutes for September and October as distributed in the agenda.
And I second it.
And Karen,
And all those in
Beautiful.
favor?
aye.
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 Oops, I don't vote. I'm sorry. Don't count me.
Nope, we didn't. No, I think, listen, I really am serious. I want to send a nice thank you card to Alana because she was just such a powerful voice on our traffic commission. But I also want to say, 2 vacancies on this team is pretty exciting. And, not a little bit, a wonderful opportunity. And I'm thinking in particular about, engaging some of our, up and coming residents. We talk all the time about, Mamaroneck is losing its younger adults, right? The generations deep folks that grow up here, the kids move away. Ugh. Like, how do we engage them? How do we get them more involved in their community? So I certainly have some ideas about, reaching out to the younger folks, in the broader parts of the village. But if y'all have any notions of, people who would really, really benefit from the volunteer opportunity, but also, want to meaningfully support and get engaged in their community, by all means, like throw Kelly your ideas, right?
Absolutely. And hey, Shannon, how did the fair go? The Zoom fair?
So nobody showed up. Jason was my moderator for that as well.
Okay.
It's not you, Jason. I promise.
I hope not. No one showed up. No.
Okay.
But we were there.
We had 4 people register and we stayed on for a good 20 minutes and
Okay.
no shows. No shows.
right.
But
Kelly, you think you can talk to Sally to see if she can try to throw it out there
Yeah, we've been
resume?
putting it up. We've been putting it in the weekly email blasts and putting it on the website. That
Okay.
yeah, because
That's
all the
good.
committees are looking for people, right? Because
Oh.
December is the big terms expire. So yeah, it's all out there.
Okay, perfect, great.
Yep.
Okay.
all right. Well, thank you all very much. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion.
Thank you,
I'll
Lucy.
second.
All right, David. Appreciate it.
Who second?
I did.
Oh, that was Larry.
Oh, Larry.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
my buddy.
Dear, dearest friends, please have a wonderful, safe Thanksgiving. Stay
Bye.
well.
Oh, yeah,
Bye.
you too, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.